Question is, why not just QQQI versus SCHD? After all, we're talking about $14,139 in yearly dividends with QQQI versus only $3,317 with SCHD. Wow. But as always, there's a lot more to the story. Someone recently reached out to me and they asked, shouldn't I just buy QQQI instead of SCHD? The dividend yield, after all, on QQQI is way higher. And honestly, that's a very fair question, especially considering the video earlier this week on SCHD. Now, on paper, QQQI is throwing off a double-digit yield right now, while SCHD is in that 3 to 4% range. And honestly, if you're trying to live off dividends, it's really tempting to make a full switch and go all in. But here's the problem. The ETF with the highest yield is not always the ETF that gives you the safest, longest lasting retirement income, especially when the market drops 30, 40%. So today, I'm going to show you exactly how SCHD and QQQI really work, how I'd use each one inside a serious retirement income blueprint, and which one makes the most sense for a 40-year-old versus a 65-year-old. Now, I'm not here to pick a tribal winner. I'm going to show you where both of these tools actually fit in a real portfolio. We're going to start with SCHD, the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF. So just like we've talked about before, industrials, healthcare, financials, consumer staples. Honestly, boring cash-generating businesses. But there's something powerful about cash-generating businesses. Here's a few key points. It pays a quarterly dividend. Every 3 months, you get paid based on the amount of shares you own. The yield is typically right around 3 to 4% range in the recent years, and historically, that dividend has grown at a healthy clip over time. Personally, for me, I own 2,600 shares of SCHD myself. For me, this is not some type of trade. It's actually part of my core paycheck replacement engine in my retirement plan. The job of SCHD in a portfolio is very simple. The goals are to give you a diversified exposure to quality cash flowing companies, pay you a reasonable yield today, and grow that income over decades so that inflation does not quietly eat you alive. That's the game plan. And it's not exciting, but that's the point. You want something stable. But when I'm asked about QQQI in comparison to SCHD, well, that is built very, very differently. QQQI owns the NASDAQ 100, the biggest non-financial companies on the NASDAQ 100. You got to think about Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon, Meta, the tech giants. That's the point of the NASDAQ 100. But here's the twist. QQQI is a covered call ETF. What that means in plain English, it owns those tech stocks. It then sells call options on those tech stocks, and it collects option premiums. It then passes a lot of that cash back to you as monthly distributions. Now, you've heard me talk about QQQ or QQQM. Those two funds are index funds based on the NASDAQ 100. The goal there is to enjoy the growth over a long period of time based on the NASDAQ 100. But QQQI is really based on selling options against them. And that's why you see a double-digit yield on QQQI versus SCHD. But something you need to know is that high yield is not free. Those covered calls cap your upside when the tech rips higher. Right now is actually a good year for QQQI because it's kind of been a little bit flat, if not declining. So that's nice. But if we have another good year like we've had in the past and tech goes to the moon, that could actually cap your upside. So QQQI's job is very different. It's trying to turn a volatile, growthy tech index into a high cash flow product at the cost of some future upside. But there's a big note that you need to understand about that and why it's highly different than SCHD. Sometimes those monthly distributions are not actually from the options or dividend payouts. Now, even though you don't have to wait quarterly like you do with SCHD, which is every 3 months, you get that monthly payout. Similar to the fund of QYLD that we've talked about before, QQQI often provides return of capital. So in order to maintain that attractive yield, as of today, it's actually 14.23%. If the options premiums don't amount to much money, they have to still maintain their goal of the 14% return. Now, there's a really easy way to check this, and I recommend that you check it monthly. Go over to the site. I'll link it down in the description so you can have a quick, easy access to it. And then what I want you to do is click on Form 19A. then you can see it. So I'll give you one example here. If we click on January of 2026, here you have the Form 19A. There was no net investment income. So all of this that you see here as far as the distribution was return of capital. Now, what does that mean? It means that the money you ultimately put into the fund, your investment, is returned to you in the form of a dividend. So compared to SCHD, well, SCHD, this isn't something that happens. They don't have return of capital because SCHD is structured specifically around companies that pay dividends. The companies within SCHD pay dividends based on their company profit, and SCHD passes those dividend payouts along to the investors on a quarterly basis. Now, let's talk a little bit about return of capital because it's not bad news necessarily. There's actually tax benefits to this particular strategy because it's ultimately deferred tax. Let's say, for example, you have a taxable brokerage account. You buy QQQI at $50 and receive $5 return of capital over time. Your new cost basis is no longer $50. It's now $45 because options premiums aren't working out, so they're just returning your own capital to you. If you then later sell and QQQI goes up to, let's say, $60, you pay capital gains on $15 instead of $10. And that's because of the return of capital. Now, over time, especially if we look at some of these other funds, that could be pretty extreme because your cost basis could get extremely low. So it is a great strategy from a deferred tax perspective, but something that you need to keep an eye on if you hold it for a long, long time. So tax is deferred, but it's not avoided in most of those accounts. Now, if you are earning options premiums based on the activity that the fund is all about, that is taxed upon receipt if it's in a taxable brokerage account. Think of covered call ETFs like turning future growth into present cash flow. You're basically selling the upside for current income. And that's not a bad thing. It's just a trade-off that you need to consider. So if you're using QQQI as your cash flow tool, your goals would be to ensure that this fund has a stable NAV, its total return is reasonable, especially against QQQ, and the tax efficiency remains strong. If this is the case, return of capital and the yield are perfectly fine. I'm not sitting here saying it's a bad thing. But if the NAV starts bleeding, the total return starts lagging behind QQQ, and the high ROC is persistent, then yield could be an illusion. And that's something that you need to be careful about. Some people like to call that a yield trap. If you need maximum cash flow this year, living off your portfolio, QQQI clearly wins on raw dollars alone. But this lens is growth over the next 10 to 30 years. Looking ahead, this is for somebody that might be a little bit younger. SCHD is designed for dividend growth. Your income can snowball if those companies keep raising payouts. And this is why when I do Monte Carlo simulations and I compare SCHD to things like even VTI and even QQQ itself, on a mid-range to a bad market, SCHD actually outperforms. The reason for that is because of the dividend snowball. If you're not familiar with that, you got to check out the video that I posted just recently. I'll link it actually right up above here in the card or in the description below. Check that out. Hop to the section where I actually break down the Monte Carlo simulation. That's critical, and that really explains a little bit further the power of the dividend growth snowball. Picture this real scenario. We've talked about this before on the channel, right? The market drops, let's say 35%. Tech, it gets hit 40 to 50%. What happens? Well, in SCHD, broad, diversified, dividend-paying companies, the price will drop, let's be real, but historically, many of these businesses keep paying through recessions. Your income might wobble a little bit, but you still own cash-flowing companies. QQQI is concentrated tech plus options. So if tech gets crushed, your shares are down sharply. You're still collecting some option premium, but a lot of the investors discover that their high yield comfort blanket doesn't feel so comforting when the underlying is down significantly in percentage. And this is where sequence of return risk becomes real for retirees and something super important to keep in mind. So where do these things fit in a real income blueprint? Well, here's how I look at it. This is not personal advice, it's just a framework. If you're 35 to 50 and you're still building wealth, I want most of the portfolio in broad market ETFs, plus things like SCHD that can grow income and capital over time. Now, if you love the idea of QQQI, I'd treat that as a small satellite, maybe something like 5 to 10% of the portfolio, but not the core. Your biggest asset right here is time, so don't trade away 20 years of potential tech growth just to maximize this year's yield. However, if you're 55 to 70 or older and closer to or in retirement, you can justify a bit more of a high yield exposure if it helps you sleep and prevents you from selling in a crash. But I'd still want a solid boring foundation from things like SCHD, right? Broad ETFs like QQQ itself. QQQI, in my view, is an optional spice, but not the main dish. A lot of people like to share how much money they're making every month, but if you do the math and you do the simulations and you compare over time, you realize it's not as exciting as you might think it is. Now, if you own SCHD, QQQI, or both, the important thing is this. Do they have a clear job in your portfolio? And can you explain in one sentence why you own each one of them? If you can't explain it, that's a red flag, not about the ETF, but about your plan. If you want to see exactly how to build a retirement income engine with SCHD and a mix of other core ETFs, you gotta look at the 3-fund portfolio, which you can learn more about by checking out this video next. Keep building your Sharpe money, and we'll see you on the next video.